Hey everyone, this is Elias from Match Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 Hyundai Kona Limited all-wheel drive. This little guy has been so easy to drive, really comfortable. So let's go ahead and get started. We get started on the front and we can see this is kind of quirky. It's got its cool little futuristic look to it. A couple of things. We do have the daytime running light here, which is an LED bar, just kind of literally running across the hood. The Atlas white color looks really nice. It looks very clean, even though it's not that clean because, yeah, we kind of took this on a day trip, put a good amount of miles on it, so we got a little bit of some bugs on here. The actual headlights though are going to be down here, and they are LED as well. They look nice, cool design. I always kind of like that design where something else looks like it's the headlight, but we have they're kind of more like pseudo headlights, and this is the real headlights. So nice design. The front, we do have a lot of covering. Yeah, a lot of this is covered. I don't know, I wish the design may be a little bit better down here to have openings or not have this kind of look like it's covered, but that's kind of what you get. We do get a front-facing camera to help out with the 360-degree camera system, which was great, easy to access, especially when this hood is kind of small. When you're driving, it feels kind of small or short, but the fall off is pretty sharp. So definitely the camera has been helping out, making sure that I don't bust this little lower lip that we have down there, which is going to be in a different color. It's kind of more of a silver, matte silver look to it. But overall though, that's kind of what you get in the front. So let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have the 1.6 liter turbocharged GDI 4-cylinder engine, and it is cranking out 190 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 8-speed auto and then to the H-Track all-wheel drive system. So my wife has a Trailblazer, and even though her Trailblazer has about 40 horsepower less, that feels faster than this. And yeah, I have a feeling that the reason why, and this weighs a little bit more, about 300 pounds more, not too much. The reason why is this 8-speed auto. The gears, I feel like they're a little bit on the longer side. It takes a while to kind of wind them up. Once you're on the highway though, it does give you a good performance with gas mileage. You do have also, you know, a fairly low RPM when you're doing about 60 miles an hour. In 8th gear, you're about 1,600 RPMs. So highway cruiser, it is. It really was easy to just kind of drive. You needed a little bit more power. You give it a little bit of gas and it'll drop a few gears and it'll get it going. But from a stop, it is going to be a little bit on the sluggish side of things. So just be aware of that. And the fact that we have the all-wheel drive system and getting the power down to everything isn't really helping it as well. But no issues there, no weird noises, no bad noises really, because sometimes these smaller 4-cylinders kind of have a weird sound to them. Not the case with this. But yeah, turbo spool, you can't really feel an on and off, and I think again that has to do more with the gearing, because it just kind of takes a while to get there. Yeah, so let's go ahead and see what we have in those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package and we have this nice 19-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 235/45 Kumo Majesty 9. Now, a couple of things with this. So the design aspect of the wheel, I love it. It's got that futuristic flat EV kind of design to it. I do love the fact that we have kind of the colored or the polished face here with the black colored inserts in there as well. Kind of gives you that depth, even though it's majority of it is a pretty flat-faced wheel. The tires, I probably would have gone with an 18 with a taller tire, so that we get more comfortability really when we are driving this as an everyday commuter, because this is really where this segment is, just an everyday, put miles on it, because, you know, run errands in it, that kind of thing. And yeah, a little bit more absorption of the road would have been nice with a taller sidewall. One thing I am noticing though is that this tire looks like it's kind of got some parts chewed out on it. Not sure, definitely wasn't us, because we weren't pushing it that hard to get that sidewall. Really looks like sanded, looks like it's sanded, but the grip was fine. You're not going to have any issues because there's not much power, especially when we're distributing it across all 4 wheels. So no concerns about that. Road noise isn't too bad when you're just kind of going and there's, you know, just everyday driving. And if there is a little bit, just crank up those tunes in there. But overall though, it's a fairly good setup. The suspension wasn't bad. There were some parts where I did feel it's kind of swaying. I would have liked that to have been tightened up a little bit, just so you don't get that kind of sickening like movement, so to speak. Brakes were great, responded really well, no issues with that. So let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side and we can see this has a pretty cool design to it. So let's talk about some of the things. First, I want to talk about the proportions. Like I mentioned, the hood relative to its overall size is actually kind of on the smaller side, where you get the majority of the sort of proportions is the cab area, so to speak. So the front and the back seat area, so the interior area, and it shows in that. When you go inside, you do have a good amount of space for what this is. This is a fairly small CUV. And then the trunk area is a little bit truncated, but you still have a good amount of space back there for things, which we'll take a look at. But yeah, kind of like the side profile, we do have kind of these stepped fenders, which gives you the impression that it is a wide-bodied CUV. And same thing with this plastic that we have on here, which I kind of like. It breaks up the Atlas white significantly, and adds to, you know, durability if you're driving on roads like this that can kick up rocks, things like that. But yeah, we also have this kind of line that just kind of goes through. And then the window framing is black, but it is a kind of a flat black. You do get this little chrome strip that just kind of swoops up, looks really cool. When you get the end line, you do get a boy racer kind of trunk spoiler back there. It looks kind of cool. I kind of like it. You know, it's not for everyone, I'll say that, but for me, I do like it. But overall though, I do like the design. We get the wheels that we can see are filling up fairly well, but like I said, I probably would have gone one size down to an 18 to give me a bigger, meatier tire. And then that kind of had me wondering, why doesn't Hyundai just create a RAV4 TRD off-road kind of competitor? That would be kind of cool. Yes, we don't have a ton of power in it. Yes, the all-wheel drive system is gonna kill a lot of that power, but why not? It's fun. Give it a little bit of a lift, give it some more aggressive tires, give it a you know, optional roof rack as well on there, some underbody protection, just you know, basically some fun stuff. That would be kind of cool to see Hyundai develop something like that. But overall though, I do like the design that we have on the side. So I do have my key fob in my pocket, and I'll go ahead and touch the handle and it goes ahead and opens up. Like I said, we have a nice big door that we can easily get into. We go ahead and close this off and we can lock it, and we reach for the back and it's not going to happen. So there is no sensor in the back, but just a matter of pressing or holding the front, and then you can open up the back. And you also have to lock in the front because there is no sensor for the back to lock. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have in the back. We get to the back and we can see there's some really cool design lines to this. So we do kind of have a mix of kind of bulbous, round, but still very jagged design lines as well. So let's start on the top, and we have this smaller spoiler, again with the Kona N line, which is probably, like I mentioned, what I would go with. Has a different spoiler to it. But what I really love about it is this. This reminds me of, you know, World Rally cars, and it looks really cool. I love the third brake light design that we have with the Kona. We do have a rear wiper on here. No issues. We've had some rain, and what was great about it is that it doesn't Usually hatchbacks collect a lot back here, but it didn't. So I've used it once or twice really in a really bad storm. So the angle that we have this rear glass is perfect to avoid, you know, any dust or anything, or just visibility issues really. We have this strip of LED lighting that just kind of goes from corner to corner. Looks really cool. I love that design. And then we have some more lighting on the sides, which look really, really nice. And badging down here, we have more of that kind of plastic. We don't see an exhaust tip, so no issue with, you know, fake exhaust openings. But overall though, that's really the cool design that we get in the back. Let's go ahead and see what we get in here. Now, one way you can go ahead and open up the trunk is if you get close with the key fob. It takes a bit, but eventually it will open up, and there you can see the amount of space you have. It's not too bad. The only thing that you will encounter though is that this kind of sits low here, so you're not going to get much height for, you know, things like boxes. So you may want to consider taking this off. And again, as you can see, mechanism's fairly easy, and same thing with just taking off there. But other than that though, it's not too bad. You have this board here, and yes, you do get a donut, so nice to have a replacement. Seeing them more and more in cars, which is nice because we weren't getting anything for a long time. And we have the jack there as well. But overall though, that's kind of what you get with this trunk space. You take a peek inside of the Kona, and it's got a very modern minimalist design. So let's go ahead and take a look at the design. We take a look at the door, and it's pretty minimalistic. Nothing big, exciting, but nothing bad. So it's just that, okay. So first thing is, this is kind of a hard plastic. No issues there. This is kind of nice feeling though. This is kind of like a soft, feels like a wetsuit kind of material. So nice to feel that. And then we just have your controls. Again, like I said, nothing exciting. We do have a cup holder that's fairly big, which is good to fit a big water bottle in there. And then we have the Bose system, which was really, really impressive. Yeah, it's actually pretty loud and pretty clear in the Kona. So if you're kind of on the fence of getting it or not, definitely go with the Bose because it sounds really good in this. We take a look at the seats, and the seats have a really nice, what they call the H-Tex material, which is kind of like, I guess they're vinyl, but it feels really good. It feels kind of like leather. We do have your adjustability right in there. This is only for the driver's seat. The passenger seat is going to have manual control, so just be aware of that. Now, a couple of things with the seat itself. The feel to it is really nice, but the shape is not that comfortable. Yeah. So I drove this on a really long trip this weekend, and I was seeing myself constantly having to adjust myself. The side bolsters are a little bit on the smaller side. Actually, the back part here, this is a little bit on the smaller side. So if you're a bigger person, just be aware that it's not even that it's hugging you. It's just you don't sit flat on the back of this. And I would say even just a normal framed person, because you kind of end up sitting on this part, your back, instead of this part. So just be aware of that. The vented and heating options are really great. We had 30-degree weather this week and 80-degree weather as well, and both the heating and the cooling worked well. But finding the sweet spot of the actual position was okay. But yeah, that was the big thing. The width of this isn't really that wide, and you're having to constantly kind of put one side of your back here, and then the other is just kind of gonna go like that. So just be aware of that. You get to the gauge cluster, and it is an all digital display. And a couple of things. So on the left side, we have your miles per hour or your speedometer, and on the right, you have your tachometer. So a couple of things with this is I did change the look to it. I did get this, what they call simple. And the reason why is because I kind of needed the digital speedometer on this because the analog gauge just didn't look right. There was something something about it that was kind of difficult to see the specific like speed that I was going to. So I'll go ahead and switch it to what they call the classic mode. And yeah, the now it looks big on the camera, but those little dials, like the in-betweens, were kind of difficult, and I was driving in areas where it was like 55 or 45, and yeah, to the point where obviously like we have areas where you're going 46, you're gonna get a ticket. So so definitely want to make sure I was going the correct and under for the speed limit. So yeah, I don't know, I just kind of liked the simple mode to it as well. It just seemed better for me because again, I can see a numerical value, and I couldn't see where I can go ahead and actually you know, switch it to, yeah, you just have those kind of things, but I don't have a way to just kind of change, you know, or add that speedometer to it. Because when we go ahead and take a look at the other options for this, we can see we have like tire pressure, power distribution, current trip, fuel mileage, and that's really it. So not too much to kind of see on there. And again, I can't customize what we have on the left or what we have on the right. My favorite though, we get this. So we do get the cameras that are tapped into to see the blind spots when you go to turn on your turn signal. So yes, thank you Hyundai for including it in this model, because I think it's such an like necessary tool to have for that added safety. Yes, always look at your mirrors, always make sure you check your blind spots, but if you have another tool to make sure things are easier and safer, why not? But yeah, that's kind of what we have with the gauge cluster. And like you saw when we switch over to the different drive modes, we have the sport, normal, and the snow. So the gauge clusters will change if you press the button to link it. So you can see we kind of get what looks like a little apex there. So yeah, but that's kind of what you get with the gauges. We take a look at the steering wheel, and it looks nice. It's not too wow, but it's not too bad. So let's take a look at the material first. So it is a little bit on the squishier side. It does have its soft spots. The feel itself is really, really nice. So I do love the feel to this material. The stitching, unfortunately, just kind of gets lost. There's nothing wow about it. So I don't know, it would have been nice to have a different color, break up the line, break up the design a little bit. We do have this, which is kind of new. I don't believe I've seen this in many Hyundais. Usually I get the H here, so I guess this is new. Not sure what that means, but that's kind of what you get. The shape of it is good. The location where my hand rests is good. It has paddle shifters in the back, and they are nicely placed. I've been using these, especially the downshift, to engine brake a lot, because some of the places we were driving did have some twisty turns, and uphill and, well, more importantly, downhill parts, so I didn't want to use too much of the brakes, and the engine braking was really good in this. We go over to the left, and we have our cruise control buttons here, and the button for the gauge cluster to adjust there. No issues with really accessing it, except this guy. So the lane keep assist system that the Kona has, it's not the best, because it kept kind of doing like kind of a jerk to kind of like literally like that to stay in the lane. Now it wasn't going like that and just countering itself. It was just doing a little twitch to correct it. So it was waiting for it to drift too much, and then it would just kind of correct. It wasn't something where it was just kind of like, okay, just a little bit, or, you know, a little bit of feedback. It was a twitch like that. It got annoying, especially with the cruise control. So I did have to turn that off every time I activated cruise control on the highways. So just be aware of that. And then we go on the right hand side, and we have more of your infotainment system control. So we have volume, which is nice, next track. and the different mode, talk, option, phone, and our button are preset that we can program, which is nice to have. The other thing that we have, obviously, we have light switch, but I want to talk about that because we have auto, and I don't know where the sensor is for it to determine when to turn the lights on, but whatever it is, I kept making it go into a shadow. I guess the placement of the sun was causing it to cast a shadow, the car itself cast a shadow on that sensor, and it was constantly turning on the lights, and it would dim my it would dim my gauge cluster, and it was literally like this bright. Like, obviously the camera exaggerates a little bit, so I'll just kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. It is super bright outside, but yeah, that was kind of a big issue, to the point where I got annoyed with it. And it's literally, as you guys can see, it is set to off. I don't have it on auto because of how annoying that was. And I had to constantly, over here with the buttons, just kind of make it a lot brighter and keep it in the brightest setting there. But yeah, that was kind of a big annoyance. So just be aware that may happen. Like I said, I don't know where the sensor is, but it was going off and constantly making that screen and my infotainment screen significantly darker. I almost forgot this on the steering wheel. Yes, so this is your shifter. And let me just say, it's not a good design. Especially that, to me, when you look at that, you're thinking, okay, it's a column shifter, so you go up and down, right? Except you don't. And what's weird is that if you take a look on the inside here, it looks like it would go up and down, but it doesn't. So this is actually in a really weird way. The way that you're going to go ahead and shift the car is, let me put the brake on. You see this guy? You're going to actually turn it up for drive and down for reverse. And then you push this button in for park. Yeah, I don't like it. And I don't like it because it's actually, to me, I'm thinking, okay, so I want to go in, usually it's like reverse, neutral, and drive, right? So you want to go drive because you usually pull a lever back. And let's just say if I wasn't paying attention just a little bit less, I probably would have hit the vehicle in front and or behind me, I believe. But it's such a bad design. And I had my friend got to sit in the car, and I said, how do you think you shift it? And again, he was going up and down. He's like, why isn't this shifting? And I showed him that, and he also thought it was a poor design. So not a fan of that. We come over to the infotainment system, and we have a nice, wide, clear, big screen. Yeah, but it's still out of the way. So it's not too tall, which is always good. So you can see, if you're just kind of at my eye level, you can see, we can still see that it's not above any line for your windshield to obstruct, but it is a nice design. It does have Apple CarPlay. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay, which is nice to see in a Hyundai, but kind of surprising that we don't see one in a Genesis or the most recent Genesis that I've reviewed. So it's nice that we have it in this. And the reason why is because this only has USB-C ports, and I don't have a USB-C to Lightning for my phone. I have to get a million cables for all these cars. But yeah, it's nice to see that. Like I said, the screen is nice and bright. We have the different menu systems. Honestly, I've been pretty much just in Apple CarPlay. Haven't had a need or a want to really go anywhere else. So we do have that. The Bose system, like I said, is so nice. It is so nice and loud and clear. So definitely recommend getting that. We come a little bit lower, and these are some of my favorite buttons because they're quick shortcuts to different parts of the infotainment system. So It's a little hard to read, but I can read it with no problem. But that is set up so I can take a look at this. This is actually something I do want to mention. So this layout is actually really nice. I love that we get such a quick and visual menu, and we don't get a list. So it is easy to just kind of go into something and then just kind of see, okay, I want to deal with the lights, and you can see all the different options that you have for the lights, but you still get a menu here. But again, just a visual and quick way of getting to those things with that setup menu. Or again, we can go to like media, search for a location, the map, and then the main home button as well. So really nice that we have those buttons to get quick access to the different menus. We come a little bit lower to the climate system, and it is nice. It is simple. No, everything's just very obvious, which is good. No needing to, you know, fight anything with an infotainment system button or anything like that on the screen. It's just right there in your face. And like I said, it's very easy to use. One thing I do like, you do have the option of leaving the lit up buttons on. So this is actually, even though it's broad daylight, we do still have them on, which is a good help just to add that clarity. Because again, sometimes, and it doesn't look that bad as it does on the camera, but if the sun is hitting it, we want to make sure it can, you know, illuminate and be able to see what those buttons mean. But yeah, very simple, very straight to the point. We come a little bit lower and we have our charging station or charging area. So we have a couple of things, USB-C connection right in there. We have this button, which we'll get to, USB-C, the wireless charger, and then we have our 12 volt that we can just pop on. I like this. This is a nice little thing to hide that, and yeah, I don't know, just a nice little look to it. Now, this button is kind of, I don't know, I'm confused, because you see that it's basically saying it can be either a charge port or a charge and data. I don't get why we need this button, because we could easily just leave it on that and you plug in the device and it will charge. That's it. Like, I don't see the need of needing to kind of switch between one of those. Let me know what you guys think, if this is something that is necessary, or could we have put a USB-A, because I still have old USB-A cables. Could we have put one right in there to have 3 connections, which would have been nice. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with that. Then we get our wireless charger. So let's go ahead and we will do the chuck test and see if it passes. And it is. You can see the light lit up, and my screen didn't light up, but it definitely is charging there, which is nice. It's been really great. I love the grip that it has. So it does have kind of a rubber mat. The important thing, the best thing I have seen in a while in a car charger is this, that are flat really, is this elevated piece. That's exactly what we need, because some of our phones have that little lip for the camera to protect it, if in case we have a case, or if it just lies on the lens itself. So it's nice that we have that little lip, because now it's elevated and it's going to charge. And this little lip also is going to stop it from moving. It does have still some space, so if you do have an even wider phone, that's nice. And you also can go up and down, or literally left and right. And my phone is an iPhone 13 Pro Max, so it is the biggest one for the 13. But yeah, you can still see we have a good amount of space. In this section, we have the area for the heated seats. We have the vented option, the heated steering wheel that this has, the auto hold, which has been nice. It's been staying on, so good to see that. And then we have just some parking, alerts. We have the parking camera, which has been really great to just kind of turn that on, and immediately you can see it's a very clear system. I can switch to different views that it has. So we have the top view there, we have the normal, we have the tires, and we have a super wide of that. So yeah, I mean, I'm really loving this. And, you know, this area here is just dirty because we have had some really bad weather. But then you have the 360, which again makes my wife's car really ginormous on there. But it's nice that we get to see that. And we can even switch over to the front view when we just turn that on. A lot of times you don't get that option, but it's nice to have that. And yeah, I probably should have used that because I parked on the grass a little bit. But it's nice that we get to see all that in the camera system. Then we have the drive modes in the middle where we have the normal, sport, and snow. So it's just a matter of rotating that. And in the middle, we have the diff lock option there for terrains that may not be the best. Then we come a little bit back, and I should have done this first. So, okay. We come to the back part, and we have the cup holder area. We have a nice big opening area. But, yeah, that's kind of weird that we don't have, but that's because you gotta press that. And then we do that, and we have cup holders. This has been really, really good because you can have big cups here, and I was able to actually add additional little cups here, or other things there. It's just a lot of space, and it's not wasted on them being strictly a cup holder. So you know, you could do this, and my wife can put a purse here. You know, we have a tissue box if you need to. Whatever the case is, this will pass the tissue box test with no problem. But yeah, I love the fact that we have that dual functionality, because you may not need the cup holders all the time. You may just need the extra space, so you do get it with this. Yeah, those are my cables that are not USB-C, but we do have an area back here where I can just kind of shove them. So it is a small little cubby area there, and we open up, and yeah, we kind of get this there, and it unfortunately isn't closed, which would have been nice to just have this closed for privacy reasons in case you want to put something in there, sunglasses, because we don't have the little sunglass holder above. But yeah, that would have been nice to have a cover to keep things out of sight. We take a look at the rear door, and like I said, very simple design. We have that harder plastic up here, we have that soft material here, and again, area for water bottle, and we also have the Bose sound system right back here. When we get inside and we take a look at the seats, again, we have that nice soft material, which feels really nice. These look like they're significantly wider. Obviously, they're not sunken in like you would in the front, or more bucket seats, so to speak. We have the bench, so these will definitely be significantly more comfortable because of the width. Yeah, just 3 seating, and we have our armrest there with our hidden cup holders. We don't have a through area here, so just be aware of that. And then down here we have our AC vents and 2 USB-C connections with a little pocket for items. We get inside, we go for a drive, and a couple of things first. Yeah, I'm still a little uncomfortable in the seat. Not too bad. It's just a matter, like I said, kind of repositioning yourself either like that or like that, and you'll be perfectly fine. We do have the auto hold, which I love. Yeah, no feet, mom. So yeah, I don't have to program it every time, and we're just gonna go. And the reason why is because it's just simple. It's literally a very simple vehicle to drive. It's impressive how, yeah, it doesn't take much effort, doesn't get you tired. Like I said, I did go on a road trip, on a day road trip. I had no complaints with being tired because I was doing physical work and then drove back, and it was probably about 300 or so miles. I think a little bit more than that, but it's been really easy to drive, again, other than the seat itself. But I asked my wife, she took the car to work, and I said, hey, how was the car? She said, easy to drive. Literally, I didn't say anything. Her words were easy to drive, and totally right. There's not much to it if you don't want there to be, but if you want there to be, like the you know, the cruise control with all the adjustments, so we do still have some tech. We have the cruise control again with the steering assist situation. I didn't like it, but I know some people won't mind, but I did just see too much of a jitter on the wheel. It wasn't as smooth as other ones. The one that comes to mind is the GM Super Cruise. That is incredible. But then again, that's completely hands off. So you do still have to kind of wake it up and tell it, yeah, I'm still kind of here situation. So yeah, but other than that though, it is smooth. It is not 100% quiet, but it's not too loud. The tires do kind of give you a little bit of a road noise. Does give you a little bit of a feel. Again, it's having to deal with that 19-inch bigger wheel that's gonna just bring in a little bit more noise because the sidewall of the tire isn't as big. But other than that though, that can be remedied by just blasting this amazing Bose system, which is so nice to kind of get going. So you'll easily drown out any noise and enjoy your tunes here with this, again, massive screen that's nice and clear. You know, your cooled seats, which is what I'm doing right now because it decided to be about 74 degrees today and getting hotter. But let's go ahead and have some fun, and let's see how this chassis, how this suspension, how this everything works together. We'll go ahead and switch it over to sport mode, and our first turn, let's hit the brakes. They're good. I mean, it doesn't feel like a very heavy car. It feels like actually a fairly light CUV, which is nice. The suspension though in the front does kind of sway a bit if you kind of hit certain types of bumps. Yeah, so just be aware of that. And it does have a little bit of a nosedive compared to some other vehicles. Now I know you're like, well, don't expect a sports car, but you know, the Mazda CX-3 comes to mind, and that wasn't too bad of a performer with that, but it still gives you good feedback, just a tiny detail. And obviously if you get the N-Line Kona, yeah, it's pretty much this. It's pretty much this, but with more boy racer looks to it. But it's got the same engine, so 190 horsepower. We have the same 8-speed auto in this, which is a little on the slow side to shift. So just be aware that even in sport mode, you are going to get that. But once you kind of get it going, as far as downshift, once you kind of get it going to upshift though, it's not too bad. It does feel a little slow though, and I think it has to do with the gears. The ratios seem to be a little high feeling. I don't know the exact numbers compared to maybe some of their competitors, but I kind of found that I was doing about 60 miles an hour, and in 8th gear I was about 1,600 RPM, which is actually kind of low now that I think about it. So I would have expected maybe like 2,000, something like that. Let's go ahead. Oh yeah, my favorite, the shifter or twist, the bop it. that's what it kind of reminds me. It's like bop it, twist it. Yeah, so we have the twist aspect of it. We'll go ahead and we will put the brakes on. We have it in sport mode. We'll gas it a little bit, load it up. It's going to about 2,100, and yeah, that'll get you 60. Like I said, it's not the fastest. The transmission it's so long, it almost feels CVT like. Now, yes, my wife's Trailblazer does have less power, but it does feel quicker than this. I don't know why. I don't know regarding the specs, if this is heavier than the Trailblazer, but I can tell you that it does feel peppier, and that is a 1.3 with about 165, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to attribute it to the transmission ratios because, again, of what I said. But the suspension, like I said, not bad. It's going to give you the road feedback that you need. The front is going to sway a tiny bit. The all-wheel drive system has been fine. I don't think I've had an issue with losing grip. I mean, it's super dry out. There is no inclement weather or anything like that. Plus the fact that you have those long ratios is going to give you a little bit of forgiveness with traction loss. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2024 Hyundai Kona Limited, and like I said, this has been an easy drive this week. So remember, find the right gear. See ya.